Hey there, Pisces. It has been a long time coming to get to your reading, and I apologize for the wait, and am happy that you're here. So I'm still using the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck for those of you who are returning, but I'm also incorporating some new elements to your readings. In this particular reading, I'm going to be incorporating both the rune cards, which in this case is Ansu's signals. I'll get to that in a moment. And the I Ching, which I actually crafted your hexagram with the traditional, or one of the traditional methods of tossing the coins to build up the hexagram line by line. And what you actually got, I'm going to hold up Benabel Wen's book. It's huge, but you got this hexagram right here. This is hexagram number 2. It's called Kun, which is composed of 2 trigrams, both being the Earth trigram. And I'm going to read from the book just to kind of give you a sense of what this particular hexagram represents. I think it's really interesting in relation to what the rest of your spread is looking like today. So let's go ahead and start off with that, shall we? So for Kun hexagram number 2, supportive power. To receive, be receptive. Embrace the power of yielding, and you shall receive. Clear a pathway, and what you seek shall come to you. Supportive power is the blessing of finishing to completion. In the depths of darkness, attainment awaits. Be yielding, and the powers that be will yield to you. A heart receptive to faith will never fear darkness or uncertainty. You are blessed with knowledge and intuition, twin pillars formed from the image of divine yin, and you are a vessel for healing and receiving sustenance. Earth yields to earth. This is referring to the 2 trigrams, both being earth. The way to success for you is by being receptive and yielding. Submit to the divine, and your journey will take you to meet a great master. Be soft, be tender, be accommodating. Leading yourself will lead you astray. Follow up, and you will find your way. Attainment gains in prosperity. A mare gallops across the soft, fertile earth. The stallion gallops behind her. You must be the mare. Yielding is the true way to lead. Actually, before I get distracted, I do want to emphasize that we have the Empress and the Emperor showing up in your reading today. And the way that they're laid out in the spread is like this. So they're both kind of looking in the same direction, but the Emperor's power is kind of restrained. So I'm going to come back to that. And we'll see how relevant it is to this imagery of the mare galloping across the soft, fertile earth with the stallion galloping behind her. I feel like there's a connection there. You must be the mare. You must be the empress. I mean, her power is not restrained. She's upright. Yielding is the true way to lead. The aspiring sage tries to lead by charging, but takes the wrong direction and goes astray. To succeed, the aspiring sage must yield. Support from the southwest proves to be allies. So this is connected to the trigram of Earth, which rules over the southwest direction. Also the phase of the moon, the new moon. And I did want to mention, because it might be potentially relevant to your situation, the Chinese zodiac animals associated with the trigram of Earth are the sheep and the monkey. So that's where you'll find your support, whether literally or figuratively. And then it does mention support from the northeast will bring misfortune. Beware the caves, the dark caverns, and the dense forest. And what it refers to with that, with the northeast direction being opposite the southwest, where Earth is the mountain trigram. And the mountain obviously rules over the northeast, also rules over the waning crescent moon phase, but the Chinese zodiac animals are the ox and the tiger, so maybe keep that in mind. If you have certain people coming into your life, maybe pay attention to what their Chinese zodiac signs are, because it might give you a little hint as to what kind of energy is coming forward, whether it's supportive or, otherwise. Take instruction and complete another's task. Then you will be closer to achieving your own. Peace comes when you find contentment with what you possess. Your moment for achieving your greatest ambition will come. For now, receive nourishment and healing. Harness the force and power of soft earth. Like the earth, the sage accepts the character of all, for better or for worse, and nurtures all with compassion without exception. One of the things I want to mention about this hexagram, considering it's very receptive, very earth-centric, was its connection, the connection that I was perceiving when this rune came out, Ansuz, which is the rune of signals, the rune of signs, synchronicities, of receiving messages from the universe, often through indirect, or rather very direct, but symbolic means. The rune Ansuz is associated with the god Loki, so it's this very trickster, playful kind of energy, maybe referring to those little situations in your daily life where you kind of feel like a joke is being played on you. Like something happens so perfectly and so precisely in line with maybe a string of thoughts that you were having, or maybe you thought one thing was going to happen and then it does happen. Like that sort of interface with your physical reality, where it feels like an externalization of what your inner experience is to a very precise degree, where it's almost like you're being joked around with. And I feel like these situations are calling your attention to paying more mind to the outer reality, and how it is offering you guidance, and how it is offering you messages about the path that you need to be taking. Obviously, the I Ching, this hexagram, was telling you that leading yourself will lead you astray. Follow and you will find your way. And I feel like that is connecting to following the guidance and following the signposts that are being put around you in your day-to-day life. Because I feel like right now your internal compass is, I feel like it's spinning. Like you can't get it to settle on a magnetic north. It's like you're at the magnetic north, and so when you're up there, the compass doesn't necessarily work. I did want to mention the 5th line in your hexagram was changing when I cast it, so I'm going to read what that specific indication means. And it says, wearing the golden skirt, a sign of great eminence. The golden skirt signifies prominence and high rank. You are intelligent, cultured, and elegant, but to be these traits is also contingent on humility, being soft, tender, and accommodating. Harness these traits and you will achieve eminence. It is not necessary to assert your status with words. You wear the golden skirt, meaning you embody that status with your mere presence. Approach with a disposition of conveying your status by your very presence, not by boasting, puffery, or other inferior methods. If you must tell people who or what you are, then you are not that at all. Maybe something to keep in mind. All right. So your first card today with your tarot spread is the 5 of Wands, Strife. And that's that first decan of Leo. There we go. And the first decan of Leo is ruled by Saturn, which again, as I keep emphasizing in your readings, is currently in your sign, Pisces. There's this very sort of halted, slowed down energy occupying your sense of self, occupying your immediate reality, your inner reality, your physical reality. There's a sense of diminished capacity with regards to yourself and with regards to your ability to manifest. It takes a lot more effort for you to complete things and to initiate things. There's a lot of oppressive energy, which is right here indicated by this next card, which is the 10 of Wands. It's called oppression in this deck. I'm going to get the point of focus to be on this side. All right, but that's that last decan of Sagittarius, also ruled by Saturn. So a lot of Saturnian focus for you here. A lot of... Oh, wow. Okay, so I just really quickly got a flash of the mountain trigram, which is the opposite of the earth, which was what was in your hexagram, representing the supportive power, the mountain being the more oppressive, destructive force. It's like I got this image of like everybody climbing this mountaintop, and it's like everybody's telling you that you need to go and climb this mountain, but you're seeing signs, you're seeing omens, you're perceiving little signposts that the universe is putting out for you, saying that you shouldn't go up that mountain, you shouldn't climb that mountain. It's like it's an unnecessary obstacle. There's another winding path that you need to take. And so it's like these signposts are taking you off the trodden path, away from where all the other people are going, into something that's, I heard discreet, which is a weird choice of word. Something that's relatively unfamiliar to the rest, to the masses, to the rest of the people. I have the High Priestess in reverse right here as your next card, which to me connects to this hexagram and how it was sort of telling you not to lead yourself, that going by your own understanding, your own rationalizing, your own logic is going to lead you astray, lead you down a path of destruction, or of things that won't endure. We'll go with that. And so instead, right now, it seems like you're in a position of needing to be receptive to the advice of other people, needing to be receptive to the advice given to you, well, through other people, sure, but also through signs and symbols, synchronicities that are happening in your day-to-day life, like paying a little bit more attention to those, maybe interfacing with the oracle, meaning tarot, tea leaf reading, rune card reading, or rune reading, the I Ching, using divination to kind of establish contact with the universe and establishing contact with your higher self, and kind of integrating and bringing that information down and letting that be your guiding principle, which is a little, I wouldn't typically recommend that anybody do that. I mean, it is helpful, but I feel like whatever information that you need in order to move forward bypasses logic. Like, the logical conclusions won't end up where they need to, if that makes sense. You know, there's a sense that you need to sit in silence and allow the universe to enter you, allow the universe to inform you, allow a teacher to guide you, because I mean, the universe can anthropomorphize this dynamic of support, of providing wisdom and guidance, definitely through signs and synchronicities, but also through the people around us. Like, somebody can kind of embody this wise, all-knowing, guiding figure for you in your life. So maybe they have something worthwhile for you to listen to, something to say that's worthwhile. Next card is Libra, Adjustment, Justice. Very finicky, huh? Okay, so the image that I was getting looking at this card is like, you have the scale where on one hand it's decision making based on intuition and decision making based on like rational planning, thought, that sort of thing, like methodical, the typical conventional path with regards to coming to decision making. And it seems to me that you need to take some of the pebbles out of the rational side and put them in the intuitive side, put them in the spiritual, fluid, receptive side. Yeah, because I almost feel like there's this tricky winding path on a cliff. You know, it's very narrow and you're taking steps. Like, say that this is where the path led you when you turned away from the mountain that everyone else was climbing. Like, there's this need to pay attention to the innate wisdom, or pay attention to, I'm hearing like the the holds on the rocks. Like looking at the rock wall that's on the uphill side of this cliff that you're kind of like shuffling along, following this path. And I feel like paying attention to the rock wall, you'll be able to make out that there's these handholds, like certain formations in the rock that allow you to grab on and stabilize yourself without falling. It's like if you weren't paying attention to your outer reality when you were doing this shuffling along, you wouldn't have noticed the handholds and you would have potentially fallen off this path. Like I feel like whatever the guidance is, it's like it's just paying attention to the outer world, because the outer world is showing you the answers. Like your inner voice it's diminished in its capacity. It's you can barely hear it, or what it says is not, I don't want to say is not accurate, because I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I just feel like there's a need for greater reliance on outer confirmation, on outer guidance. I feel like maybe some of what I'm saying is a little contradictory, because it's like paying attention to intuition and whatnot, but listening mostly to outer guidance. Like I don't want there to be any sort of like idea that there's this fighting between these two ideas, because I don't think that's the case. It's just with Saturn being in your first house, with Saturn traversing through Pisces, all of the Piscean, fantastical, imaginative, fluid ideals is becoming more solidified and grounded in this kind of lead anchor. The lead anchor being Saturn, and it's keeping the ship of your selfhood steady, relatively steady, as the waters of time and reality kind of move around. But it's like I'm getting this image that the anchor that's holding this ship in place somewhat is made of lead, but it's like magnetized, and it's like pulling. It's like it's pulling the ocean together, and it's like solidifying it, not like freezing it, but like turning it into earth, like turning it into matter, like hard, tangible, unyielding matter. And so there's this idea that it's more important to pay attention to and interface with the outer practical world than it is for you to interface with the inner world. At least in whatever this particular situation is. Maybe if divination, if turning to divination and trying to find guidance that way isn't the correct way, maybe it's more on the lines of like you need to pay attention to the facts, to the information based on the physical reality of things, like weighing out the hard data as opposed to feeling your way through the situation. Like that could be the message here. For your next card, we have the Three of Swords, which is the middle decan of Libra. Another Saturn ruled decan. So it's like Saturn. Saturn is like, pay attention to the real world. Get out of your head. Get out of your dreams. Come back to the real world. When I was looking at your cards earlier, I kept getting the image of the lunar nodes, and that's like where the orbit of the moon intersects with the apparent path of the sun in our sky, and those are the points that eclipses can occur. but it was like bringing your awareness to these points of intersection, this point of mediation where the spirit interfaces with matter, coming back to this place, coming back to your body, to your reality, and gathering the real information, like what's right in front of your face, what you can touch and taste and smell and hear. And not trying to pull away from that. Come back to reality. Put your feet on the ground. You have the Princess of Discs in reversed as your next card. It's interesting. What came to mind when I looked at this card just now was that Jim Henson film, Mirror Mask. Whether or not you've seen the film itself, it's kind of like this Alice in Wonderland type, where you don't necessarily know if the main character is dreaming or not, but whatever it is that she's doing is like important work. But what I feel like is being emphasized with this particular card is like, you've been dreaming, you've been wandering around in fantastical ideas, and you need to wake up. Like I'm seeing the person like gasping and like sitting upright in bed and like looking around and pinching themselves and being like, I'm here. I'm right here right now. I wasn't there, or maybe I was, but that's not where I am now. It's not where I need to be right now. Yeah, there's this like redirection of the earth energy. It's like it's coming up from the bottom. It's rising up. It's coming up into your awareness. The earth is. I'm also seeing like an island coming up out of the ocean. The ocean being Pisces, and the island being Saturn, maybe. Like recognizing a stable form within the ocean of time, within the ocean of reality, and relying on the stable place for your well-being and for laying down a foundation for something. Queen of Cups in reverse is next. Could be you, Pisces. She is right under the High Priestess in reverse too, so it's like I'm hearing sublimation, like putting down this reliance on the mystical, on the spiritual, like sublimating that and like returning the emphasis to the outer real world. You have the Four of Swords right next to that, and this is the last decan of Libra. It's called Truce. And what I'm getting looking at this card is this sense of compiling information, compiling data, like you've gathered the information about your current situation, but specifically information that pertains to the hard factual reality of it. You've gathered it together and you're sort of, I want to say consolidating, but that's not quite the right word. Aligning the information together to create something else, or to come to a new conclusion, a new understanding, or to have a new pathway or a new decision put in place. But it's like this information is coming from outside of yourself. It's on the mirror of your daily life. It's in the signs, it's in the synchronicities, it's in the birds, it's in it's in the little things that happen. They're informing you. They're bringing the information to you. Maybe there's a messenger, a mercurial figure coming into your life who's giving you the letter. I hear giving you the summons, is giving you information that you need in order to move forward. And it's information that you couldn't have gotten on your own. But it's like it's vital to moving forward. Now the next two cards I want to bring up together, I already kind of brought them up earlier, but it's the Empress and the Emperor. Yeah, and again, I felt like this was really emphasizing the need to be in a more receptive, accepting state of being, allowing the messenger to come to you and bring you the information rather than going out and acting either without the information or going out and finding the information yourself. Like whatever direction that would lead you, I feel like it would lead you astray somehow. Like maybe you'd gather the wrong information, or you'd make decisions without it and end up making mistakes, or having to surmount obstacles that could have otherwise been avoided if you had stayed in the more Empress state of mind of allowing things to come to you, of allowing reality to take shape around you and provide you with the information outwardly that you needed. Like I feel like your reality right now is in a state of flux. Like I'm seeing you, Pisces, as like sitting in like this Taurus and like this electromagnetic circuit, like in the center, and the physical reality is like showing itself to you as like a screen on like the outer edge of this field. And usually it's very like relatively secure, like you can make out distinct shapes and forms and places and things in that field. But right now I feel like it's almost like a sense of like somebody dropping a rock in water, and it's like the image is rippling and you can't make out what it is. It's like changing, it's metamorphosizing, it's shifting into something different. And it's like right now reality is telling you to sit still and allow these ripples to settle. Don't try to read the book through rippling water. Like wait until the water settles and you can actually see what you're reading, rather than coming to your own assumptions based on incomplete information. You have the Four of Discs next, which in this deck is power. That's that last decan of Capricorn, which is like, to me, Capricorn is like pinnacle Earth, or like bare Earth. Like it's Earth in its most fundamental, most cardinal expression. It's the prima materia, the primal Earth, the primal substance. And it's following this line of reversals, starting from the High Priestess at the top, then the Queen of Cups in the middle, and then you have this Four of Discs at the bottom, all of these in reverse. And the general message of these two top cards was like usurping your inner voice for guidance that is provided to you externally, rather than, shifting your attention into the inner world. It's like shifting it back outward. And like right now, it's just like there's this sense of like you're settling into the rhythm of that. You're starting to you have access to the tools that you need to bring yourself back into physical reality again. But like this is like an adjustment period where you're like trying to make sense of it. You're trying to let the dizziness settle is what I heard. Like if you were in this electromagnetic field, this torus, and like you were spinning around, and now you're listening to the universe. It's told you to sit. You took a seat, but like your head is still kind of spinning, and your eyes are like not able to settle. And it doesn't help that your outer reality is just kind of like rippling and changing and shifting. And so it's like calling you to find inner stasis, quieting your inner dialogue, quieting your inner it's weird. It's like there's this word and it's not expression, it's not experience, not your inner expression, not your inner experience, but it's like it's synonymous with that in some way, like something. I heard allowing the tea leaves to settle. Allowing the sediment to settle. Like if you shook a bottle that has something in it, and it's just like now you're waiting for everything to settle down to the bottom, and that's what this Four of Coins energy is like allowing things to settle to the bottom, allowing the ripples to settle, and then gathering the information that you need. Maybe some need for you to ground yourself. Put your feet down on the bare earth, doing yoga or dancing, breathing exercise, something that reconnects you with the physical is what's going to help that energy to settle so that you're able to be more receptive and open to the information that's coming to you from the outside. And also being able to do something with that information once you have it. You have the Queen of Wands in reverse as your last card. It was weird. I heard a voice when I was looking at it, like, the decision will be made for you. As a double Aries, I don't like decisions being made for me, so I'm almost uncomfortable even telling you to allow a decision to be made for you. Could be something slightly different. Like I'm trying to allow the idea to crystallize in my mind as I'm looking at it. Like might be this like personification of the energy, the information that you're gathering, the information that's coming to you from the outside. It's like it's culminating and reaching a place where you don't need to make the decision. Like it's already made. Like there's no dynamism on your part. There's no direct interference. Like it's like once you have grasp of what the entire picture is, the picture becomes what it needed to become all along. It's like you're manifesting without manifesting. Like it's manifesting itself to you. Also another confirmation of like sublimating the personal subjective process and opting for a cosmic process. I feel like there's something that I wanted to reread here. Oh, the mare. So the mare galloping across the field, the soft, fertile earth, with the stallion galloping behind her. And it says, be the mare. You must be the mare. Like allowing the outer reality to come to you and being receptive to what it brings. I don't necessarily feel like this represents anything of a sexual nature. I mean, it could, depending on your circumstances. Obviously, everybody's experience with this is going to be different. But I feel like what's more important is the principle, not necessarily the form that it's taking. Being in a state of allowance rather than trying to put the crown on yourself, allowing the crown to be put on you without you demanding it or willing it. And maybe that's what this Queen of Wands is. It's like you didn't decide to be royalty, it was decided for you. You didn't decide to be a sovereign being, but you became one. And I kind of like absentmindedly spread these cards. I have 12 cards just kind of spread in like a square, but I divided them into 6 on either side, and there's like this empty space in between. And I feel like this is you leaving space open for the energy to come in, for the information to come in, but staying in place. Not going out and charging forth and trying to fight against the current. Not even following the current. If we go back to that image of everybody else climbing the mountain, that it's like, no, don't climb that mountain. Don't go with where everyone else is going. There's a different path. It's like, take your shoes off before you walk the path. Like this really heavy emphasis on like getting your feet on the ground, getting yourself out of the clouds, out of the dreams, into the real physical reality, into Saturn's reality. Like Saturn is there for a reason, and Saturn is trying to tell you something. Saturn is trying to bring your attention back to the physical, corporeal, bodily reality. You are exactly where you are. And there's something that you need to know about where you are in order to do something about it, if anything needs to be done. But frankly, I think there's always something that needs to be done for as long as we're alive. It's a continual process of unfolding and interfacing and creating and learning. And that never stops until it does. But that, again, is Saturn's call. Saturn rules the limitations, the endings, the bounds. Saturn rules the border between this life and the next, from one chapter into the next, from the ocean onto the shore. All right, Pisces, wishing you the best. Take care.